Live from the Geico Outkick Studios, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. We're going to be joined by Shawne Merriman here in a few moments to talk about everything that happened in the NFL. But as we start off hour number 2, I know a lot of you are listening in Philadelphia, in New York, in Washington, D.C., or in Dallas, and you are the fans of the worst division maybe in the history of the NFL. But the Eagles got a big win last night. They went on the road. They found a way to steal a victory against the San Francisco 49ers. Abundant amounts of injuries on both sides of the ball. And as a result, we come out of this game in San Francisco with the Eagles in first place all by themselves at 1-2-1. The Redskins are at 1-3. The Cowboys are at 1-3, and the Giants are at 0-4. Now, I would still make the Cowboys the favorites to win this division if you look at the rest of the schedules and how things break down. But the Cowboys can't stop anybody. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute here with Shawne Merriman, who is a former NFL All-Pro. But the Cowboys have given up in the last 3 weeks 39, 38, and 49 points. They're basically making everybody rich just by betting the over in every Dallas Cowboy game. And I don't know how you solve that issue. We'll ask Shawne Merriman here in a moment. Again, I think if you look at the schedules going forward, as ridiculously bad as the Cowboys have been, you would have to make them the favorite even still. And I imagine that's what the odds makers will do when the division odds come out here soon. But I just don't know what's going to happen with the Cowboys in terms of their defense ever getting any better at all. And you also have to wonder at some point, might the Washington football team or the Giants actually start to win a few of these games? Because as bad as things have been for the Giants, they're not even that far out of the playoffs, and they're 0-4. And most of the time, 0-4 teams are ready to go ahead and start making their postseason vacation trip plans. Instead, everybody in the NFC East is going to be alive for a long time to come. Joined now by Shawne Merriman. Appreciate him joining us. He's going to be joining us a lot on the program to talk about what's going on in the NFL. And right off the top here, Shawne has a brand new iHeart original podcast. It's called Lights Out with Shawne Merriman. And you can subscribe, rate, and review Lights Out wherever you download podcasts. It's brought to you by iHeart. Shawne, so many different storylines to get into, but as a guy who played on defense in the NFL for a long time, I want to start by asking you, what in the world is going on with the Cowboy defense right now? What do you see that they're failing at? How much of it is correctable? How much of it is injuries? Because the Browns just went up and down the field on them all afternoon.
You know, the Cowboys defense right now, from me watching, is they're just lacking leadership. I think that's the biggest problem right now. There's no way these things are happening and you don't have a lot of these veterans and the defensive captains, whoever they are, standing up and not allowing it to happen. Because, you know, I tell people all the time, playing defense is an attitude. It's a mentality. And, you know, refusing to get beat and let some of those big plays, and you see some of these guys go back to the sideline like it never happened. I mean, you look at the great teams and the great defenses. They control what happens. The players do. It's not on the coaches, not the coordinators. They can put you in a position to make plays all day, but if you don't go make them, that's on you. So, people are talking the defensive scheme and things like that. You got to go out and make a play, man. It needs some defensive leaders to step up and make it happen over there.
How much side-eye do you think there is right now in the Cowboys locker room between the offense and the defense? Because a lot of people forget that it's almost like two different teams at times, and the offense really has to be looking around saying, man, we can't do much more than we're already doing. We're putting up over 30 every single game. The defense is costing us these games. How do you avoid it becoming an us versus them in the locker room where the offense is blaming the defense?
Leadership. I mean, they need to have a players-only meeting and get everybody in the room, and whatever needs to happen behind closed doors needs to happen. Because any time that we started playing well, when I was with the Chargers, when I was even with the Bills for that matter, we wasn't playing well. It was a players' meeting. We all got together, and we're going to hash it out behind closed doors, and whatever needs to be said is going to be said. So if fillers get hurt, there's problems with other guys or guys not playing hard, you point their ass out in the film. You look at the film and you point them out and you get everything on the table. And that's what great leaders do on not just on defense, but any team.
I don't know if you saw it late, but I saw a bunch of people commenting about it on social media. But it looked like Amari Cooper went a little bit alligator arms late on that final interception that Dak threw. And I do talk to a lot of players, and they always like to say, the eye in the sky doesn't lie, right? Ultimately, the tape will tell you who's making their reads, who's giving every bit of effort. How uncomfortable can those film sessions be after a loss like the Cowboys just had?
Very, very, and they should be, because that's the only way that thing is going to get fixed there. Look, you can talk about Amari Cooper, but he had a pretty good game. So there's always little things to point out, but as a collective and as a whole, it needs to be fixed, and that's why, for example, you keep a Jason Witten in the locker room. That's why you keep some of these veteran guys, because they're just not going to let it happen. You'll grab, I'll never forget. I mean, Lorenzo Neal, our fullback, with the Chargers, would come over to the defense, and he would get if we weren't playing up the par, he would say something. LT would say something to us. There's no offensive defense. Phillip Rivers will come down there on that bench, and he's yelling at the defense. I mean, but that's what type of team we had. The players have to take it over, and it's only but so much a coach can do. You can call it scheme, you can call it whatever you want to, but at the end of the day, the players have to go out and make plays.
We're talking to Shawne Merriman. You mentioned the Chargers there, and obviously you guys had a lot of success with LaDainian Tomlinson, with Phillip Rivers back in the day. What do you see so far from Justin Herbert? I know they lost the game against the Bucs, and you don't necessarily want to get into moral victories. But, man, Justin Herbert has been really, really good in his second, third, and fourth weeks as a starter here, week 2, 3, and 4 of the NFL, particularly when you consider he had no idea he was starting week 2. How would you assess his performance so far?
As expected. Before the draft, during the combine, I tweeted out and I put it out there that Justin Herbert, he's the guy. He's the guy that charges the draft. He's the guy that's going to carry that team for the next 5 to 6 plus years. So I'm not surprised at all. What I am surprised at that they should be pulling out some of those wins when you have a quarterback out there playing that well, throwing for 300-plus yards a game back-to-back. So they also have to figure it out. I would love to see their defensive backs step up and not give up big plays and things that are just unimaginable, right, especially when you got a quarterback that can go out and do the things he's done so far.
Phillip Rivers is now with the Colts. The Colts got a big win over the undefeated at the time Bears to get to 3-1. The Bears fall to 3-1. What are you seeing from him in this Colts offense, and what do you think he has left as a starting quarterback in this league?
It's funny. Phillip had a terrible year last year with the Chargers, and people they're not taking note that they had a banged up offensive line. Guys went down left and right. They were shifting in new guys every single week. So he didn't have much time to throw the ball. Now, this is the guy that even when in his younger years, he couldn't run. Phillip's never been a mobile quarterback. So you throw that, plus, he's getting up there in age. He's taking a lot of hits. Of course, he's going to have a bad year. And now I'm seeing with the Colts, they're blocking for him. I think right now he's the second or third least hit quarterback in the National Football League. He has time to throw the ball. Phillip's passion and his competitive spirit is going to win him a lot of football games. That's what's going to happen over there. So I'm excited for him, man. I'm excited to see him playing well. I think he just hit his 400 touchdown mark. And one day he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. He should be up for the Hall of Fame when he's done. I think he will get in. So I'd like to see him go out and win some more football games and finish off his career right.
We're talking to Shawne Merriman, his new podcast with iHeart, Lights Out Weekly. Encourage you to check that out. Shawne, when you look at a guy like Josh Allen, I would say the performance of Josh Allen has been a revelation over the start of this year and the finish of last year. He's becoming one of the most interesting and fun quarterbacks to watch in the league, and it feels like it's kind of come out of nowhere. Did you see him progressing this far, this fast, to the point where he is right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I went to the Chargers-Bills game. Both my former teams playing each other out in Buffalo a few years back. And, man, I watched him warm up before the game, and I said, man, this guy got on. He was slinging it down the field 50 yards. And I just noticed one thing about him is his presence and his ability to command respect from the people around him. And I was like, this guy's going to be good. Now you throw in, a Stephon Diggs now, and now you have somebody who is a big threat. You got a quarterback with a big arm, making big plays, and it's a fun and exciting time in Buffalo, man. I can tell you, playing there, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like playing in Buffalo, man, and especially when you win a football game. That city will get behind you beyond belief.
We're talking to Shawne Merriman, and we talked a little bit about the Cowboys' defense. I wanted to hit you with this guy. Myles Garrett was a one-man wrecking crew for the Cleveland Browns, and he's been playing like that all year ever since he got that big contract, and honestly, ever since he had the incident at the end of basically November of last year with Mason Rudolph and got suspended for the rest of the year. What do you think about his performance, and what about him coming back from what could have been an ugly incident in his career and becoming one of the most dominant defensive linemen in the entirety of the league?
Well, he's always been dominant, right? I mean, sometimes it get overshadowed when your team is playing bad, but Myles Garrett has always been dominant. And it's unfortunate the incident he had because that's going to linger and people will always bring that up and it will always be, in a sense, associated with something he's done. But at the same time, man, it doesn't take away from his dominance and what he's been doing. The thing is, what's different now with Cleveland is they're playing well as a team, so it's getting noticed this much. I've been watching him since the first day he came in the NFL. I said, this guy's going to be a beast. He's going to be, a top 3 or top 4 pass rusher at that position where you can put him anywhere in the field. You can line him up at defensive end. You can put him at D tackle. He's going to go out and make big plays. The thing is that they have an actual team around him now. Odell is playing insanely, and they got running backs back there that's carrying the rock, and the defense is stepping up, so they're getting more attention, and now people are noticing Myles Garrett's dominance.
What do you think? What happens for a team like the Texans and also the Vikings when you've been in the playoffs and then you come back in the start of the next season, the wheels start to come off? The Texans are now 0-4. The Vikings are 1-3. What are you seeing from these two teams?
Well, for one, with the Texans, a lot of their moves have been questionable. DeAndre Hopkins and getting rid of certain guys and bringing certain guys in, and you're like, why are you getting rid of the best 1 or 2 wide receiver in the National Football League? You're trying to win games here. So on top of that, when you're not playing well as a team, and I seen J.J. Watt came out and he was disgusted, man, because he's not used to losing. He's not okay with it. And so a lot of other guys from the team. So, it can get very ugly for these guys. And hopefully, I like Bill O'Brien a lot as a coach. But at some point in time, if you keep looking like this, you're going to be on the hot seat and they're going to look to move you.
Talking to Shawne Merriman, last couple of questions here for you. When you look at the sort of larger landscape of the NFL, it seems like the Seahawks are, with Russell Wilson right now, on a different level almost day to day in terms of their offense. Is there any doubt for you that he's the MVP of the league right now?
No question. And it's a shame of what's happened to him as far as the votes in the past as being MVP. It's a shame because he's been a one-man wrecking crew. And now you got, he's got a great coach and he got some great teammates, but he himself has just been magical, man. And it's about time that he gets respect, man. And in the next few weeks, he'll be up for the league MVP for sure. But DK Metcalf, man, is one of my favorite players to watch. That dude, man, he's just on such another level. I got a chance to meet him the day he got drafted, and I remember he came up and I guess he watched me growing up, and I was one of his favorite players. I walked in and I looked at him. I said, "What defensive end is getting drafted?" Right, because that dude, he was that big. We were literally looking eye to eye. We took a picture and we're neck to neck, and I said, "Wow, this is the specimen here." So. He's going to be fun to watch, man. I'm going to be watching him closely. Love to watch him. He's explosive. He's a freak athlete, and he's giving Russell Wilson just another spark now.
We got double Monday Night Football games tonight because the Patriots-Chiefs game got moved, and then you've got the Falcons on the road going up against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, probably going to be fun doubleheader to watch. Any reason to expect that the Falcons or the Patriots could pull off the upsets in your mind?
Well, it's funny when you call it an upset because, I know for one, I don't see the Falcons doing that, not the way they're playing right now and the way they're giving up these late game leads. And I just don't know what in the heck is going on out there in Atlanta. But yeah, man, Green Bay is fun. I like this year's Aaron Rodgers, man. It seems a little bit different than we've seen him in the past. He's much more relaxed. He's have a lot more fun, and just have a new outlook on just this his game and where he's at now. So this is going to be fun to watch. And so I'm glad they did that and moved these games.
Outstanding stuff, Shawne. We look forward to talking to you next week. Go check out the Lights Out podcast. Appreciate you joining us, my man.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
That's Shawne Merriman.